The US and Venezuela have marked a diplomatic breakthrough in a major prisoner swap. And the big prize for the Biden administration is a fugitive Malaysian defense contractor nicknamed Fat Leonard. He had orchestrated one of the Pentagon's worst ever corruption scandals. Caroline Malone reports.
It's one of the biggest and most complicated hostage deals that the US has had with a hostile foreign government. The White House has confirmed that the group includes 10 US citizens and a fugitive who cost the US tens of millions of dollars, as was uncovered in a federal investigation into the Navy. Leonard Francis, or Fat Leonard, coined for his big frame, is a former Malaysian military contractor who led Glenn Defence Marine Asia, a company serving the US's Navy's 7th Fleet in the Eastern Pacific. In 2015, he pleaded guilty to bribing officers with dinners, sex workers and cash to get them to supply deals in which he overcharged for contracts. He was eventually convicted, but then he escaped house arrest in San Diego in 2022 and made it to Venezuela. The US is releasing 20 Venezuelans, including Alex Saab, an ally of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who was arrested for money laundering in return. Caroline Malone, CNA, Washington.
Washington's prisoner swap with Caracas has resurfaced one of the largest corruption scandals in the US Navy's history. It also provides another chance for the Pentagon to make right an embarrassing chapter. Well, the man at the center of this bribery case came to be known as Fat Leonard, given his 350-pound, 6'2" frame at one point. His real name is Leonard Francis, a Malaysian national who ran a military contracting company out of Singapore called Glenn Defence Marine Asia. GDMA is a key supplier for the US 7th Fleet in the Western Pacific. From 2004 to 2013, Francis was said to have befriended Navy leaders, showering them with gifts so that they would look the other way, as he swindled the Navy out of at least $25 million. He was finally arrested in 2013, but he struck a deal with federal prosecutors to provide evidence against the high-ranking Navy personnel with whom he had ties. And in 2015, Francis pleaded guilty to fraud and bribery charges. He admitted that he offered parties that included sex workers, luxury hotels, Cuban cigars, gourmet meals, and more than $500,000 in cash bribes. Also, Navy officers could steer business his way. Investigation into the case exposed a staggering degree of corruption within the U.S. Navy. And as it turned out, it wasn't just a bribery scandal. Well, the case also revealed one of the worst national security breach to hit the Navy since the end of the Cold War. As Francis plied men in uniform with gifts, he was also able to get access to classified material about U.S. warship movements and confidential contracting information. And adding insult to injury, Francis fled the U.S. weeks before he was expected to be sentenced on bribery and fraud charges. In September 2022, he snipped off his ankle monitor and made his way to Mexico, Cuba, and then finally to Venezuela.